Hello everyone. This time I will talk about the Toro site. The Toro site are from the Yayoi period. It is located in the southern part of Shizuoka Plain in Shizuoka City, Shizuoka Prefecture. During the Yayoi period, this coastline is thought to have been located closer to land than it is today. Repeated heavy rains and floods carried soil and sand from the mountains. The land that was formed by the accumulation of this transported soil and sand formed the Shizuoka Plain. In this process, people built settlements in places where the soil and sand piled up a little higher. One of these settlements is the Toro site. So why is Toro site the only one of the many settlements famous? This is deeply connected to the background of the investigation. At that time, Japan was in the midst of World War II. Military-related facilities were being constructed all over Japan. Construction of a propeller factory was also underway in the area where the Toro site are currently located. During the construction work, a dugout canoe was accidentally unearthed. This is how the Toro site were discovered. The discovery of the Toro site attracted a great deal of attention from researchers at the time. This is because, along with the Toro site, traces of rice fields were discovered at the Toro ruins. Nowadays, the Yayoi period is naturally associated with rice cultivation. However, this was the first time that traces of rice paddies had been discovered in Japan, but it was wartime. The excavation was not easy. After much effort, the researchers finally gained the military's consent and excavation of the Toro site began. However, the investigation was soon discontinued due to the war, and then June 19, 1945. The city of Shizuoka was subjected to air raids. It's the bombing of Shizuoka. At that time, cities all over Japan were being bombed. Shizuoka was also a target because it was home to munitions factories, including a propeller factory. Toro site is close to Mount Fuji. You can see Mount Fuji from the rooftop of the Toro Museum located within the Toro site. The American military also used Mount Fuji as a landmark. The B-29 came to Japan with Mount Fuji as its goal. In other words, Shizuoka was constantly facing the threat of air raids. Ruins and artifacts were also damaged by the bombing of Shizuoka. Although much was lost, some remains survived the war. Thus, after Japan had suffered great losses, the war came to an end on August 15. However, immediately after the war, there was a growing call from newspapers and research organizations for the investigation of the Toro site. Some people were cold towards the excavation of it so soon after the defeat. However, interest in the Toro site gradually grew. Researchers, archaeologists, and natural scientists from not only Shizuoka but also Tokyo participated. Ultimately, it became an excavation that attracted attention across Japan. Shortly after Japan's defeat in the war, it was difficult to obtain funds and materials. In such a situation, those involved rose to the challenge and pursued the question, what does it mean to be Japanese? It has become a historic site that symbolizes the rebirth of post-war Japan. As a result of this investigation, the remains of houses, raised floor warehouse, and vast rice fields were discovered. This has shed light on the lives of people in the Yayoi period. The rat guard is still famous and appears in textbooks today. The rat guard's first discovery was a mysterious wooden product excavated from the Toro site. This is to prevent rats from getting into the raised floor warehouse, it's speculated. This was later confirmed by further investigations of other ruins. You can also actually enter some of the many restored dwellings located within the ruins. Once inside, we can see what kind of space people lived in at that time. A re-examination was also carried out in 1999. During the investigation, a large new building with pillars standing in the ground was discovered. For this reason, it is believed that there was once a shrine there with ridge pillars supporting the ridge from the outside of the building. Based on these discoveries, the site was redeveloped. Today, the rebuilt Toro Museum stands amid the ruins. Many of the excavated items are on display there. There we can learn more about the Toro site. If you visit Shizuoka, be sure to go there.